Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property. Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up in their names, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that
it's so funny that when you start to change your life, when you start to change yourself, your mindset, people start to say that you're an entirely different person. Like you didn't grow up in the struggle like them. Like you didn't understand exactly where you came from. But you see, the people who watch this video, the people who are looking for content like this, was in the same position that I was in when I was 21, 22, and 23 years old. You see, I realized something very early on in life, right when I started college. And it's the same thing that certain people start to realize even when they're in high school. They're looking around, they're looking at their environment, they're saying, I need to get up out of here. I need to get away from this. When I was 13, 14, 15, 16, I would see kids smoking weed, sitting on the staircase every single day, sitting outside, laughing, chilling, hanging out, selling CDs, selling drugs, doing whatever it was to get a quick buck. They had the flyest shoes, they had everything, and they was getting all the little ladies. Why? Because they had time on their hands. I was chasing scholarships, playing football. Still got a girl here or there, but when you're actually in school doing what you're supposed to be doing as a child, they have a little bit more luxuries and a little bit more freedom. You see, but at the time, it wasn't enticing to me. I knew I needed money because the shoes that I was wearing, they were all beaten up. I can't remember the last time I had a hole in my shoe and continued to wear them, right? But at the time, I knew I needed money. In fact, I was growing frustrated that I couldn't land a job, whether it be McDonald's or whatever, at 15, 16 years old. Kids was showing, flashing, all that stuff, but I just knew the environment that I was in wasn't for me. And so I went to college. I had the ability to go to college completely for free, was on scholarships, was on all types of stuff. And even if I didn't want scholarships, I could have went to CUNY in New York, and I did that just for a year, and then still decided to go away and pay for school. During that process, I told myself I would not be in student loan debt. Imagine carrying $50,000 in student loans when you've never earned $50,000 a year. To me, that was scary. To me, that was something that I couldn't risk putting on my financial future. And so I continued to work in order to pay that off when the only bill I had was my college tuition, as well as rent, of course. And then I found the cheapest rent for myself. I didn't ask someone to find me accommodations. No, I got off campus in order to ensure that I wouldn't just lose every single cent that I had and go into the negative. Now, I say all this to say that there are people like you, people like me, that are going to see an environment that we're in and actively look to change it. And what I've noticed about multiple states that I've driven to, lived in, and moved throughout is that you can be in the worst neighborhood and then just 10 blocks away, there's paradise. Just 10 blocks away. You could be in the worst side of town and just 10 blocks away, just right across that highway, might be the richest people that you have never gotten into contact with. Just in that gym 3 miles down, just in that coffee shop 5 miles down. And they drive through your neighborhoods in these luxury vehicles figuratively speaking. Like today, I was driving through a bad neighborhood. Went to see a lovely lady, and I'm thinking to myself, like, the area in which she's in, to her is just life. Is just where you're supposed to be. And then not too far down, you got this amazing hospital, nice strip malls. Everything looks supreme. So you see money, and then you also see those who may be on Section 8 housing. And it's so funny, you can be in a city or a state for years upon years, and depending on your tax bracket, you may never see such ways of life. And I do realize that, guys say it all the time, especially on these platforms now that we have, that you can see a woman on the street and then raise her from poverty immediately. Now, I don't really think that any guy's just gonna see somebody on the street. I'm talking about like dirty clothes, dirty everything, and say, yeah, I'm going to lift this person up and beautify them. No, but if you are talking to someone on social media, which everyone has access to these days, or if you're talking to somebody that just so happened to be at the bar that you decided to frequent that night, out of all the nights in the world. Like, I met somebody who was in my vicinity one time, and now we actually like speak on a regular basis, not knowing that they were even in my neighborhood. For years I lived here, didn't ever see or communicate with them until a chance encounter, right? And so I say all that to say, like, certain situations can change people's lives, but at the same time, certain mindsets will help to change people's lives. I know that my family wants more based on what they see, not just from me, but from those around them. In order for you to believe in yourself, sometimes you need to see that other people in your situation, in your circumstance, has also done the same. I grew up in a single parent household since I was about 13. I grew up with two brothers and a sister, right? Like, I had a 5 family household, which most people in America today would be in poverty. And that's exactly where we were too, tax bracket wise, poverty. And yet I rose above that, made tens of thousands of dollars in my early teens, made hundreds of thousands of dollars in my early 20s, and now was able to cross a mil by the age of 25. By the age of 25. 2 properties by the age of 23, I believe. And so a lot of people would say, how did you do that? That's impossible. When I was renting out my properties, I had people literally writing in the comment sections of my rentals, he's a scammer. Calling me a scammer. Not checking the auditor site to see if I actually own these residences. Thankfully, other people would fact check them and say, this is his name, this is his property. I didn't even have to do all that. People would do the work for me and just be like, you're incorrect, sir. But I say all that to say, like, the mindset of saying, this is my situation and I want to be out of that situation. You have to determine that for yourself. You have to know that instinctively for yourself, that you want to be better than the situation that you're currently in, and then work towards getting out of that. And how do you do that? The same way I did, by watching YouTube content, getting an understanding of everything that's going on around me, going on throughout the world. When I started investing in the stock market, I started to learn more about the companies that I was invested in because I had skin in the game. I knew everything that McDonald's was selling at one point. because that $200 that I put into McDonald's was all I had, and it was more than worth everything that I needed to know about a company was all in the money that I would put into that company. So yes, when I started my stock market portfolio, I started with 2,000, and every company I invested in, I researched every single day. I learned every form of trading within a 5-year span. I learned every financial piece of information that was on YouTube for 7 years straight, having it regurgitated day in and day out to me, to the point where people with Series 7s, I would go into their office, I would go into Chase Bank offices, speak to the VP, and they would offer me jobs on the spot without licensing. Not trying to get nobody in trouble, but I'm just saying I understand. I have the knowledge, the financial knowledge that people would literally go to school for and pay for certifications for. I've literally helped people pass their finance degrees. And so I say all that to say your situation is not the end all be all. You are more than capable of working out of any situation you're in. And I'm not saying this to be facetious whatsoever, but no matter your situation, whether you're with kid or without, whether you're, as long as you're not sick, as long as you are not sick, you can get out of any financial situation you are in within 18 good months. 18 good months can break any financial situation that you were in. And in the next couple of videos, I'm going to talk about how you can do that. Really break that down, really give you the information you need. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.